picked the Paladin. I'm feeling good. Feeling like we're going to start this month off with a good one. And the best way to do that is with a strong silver sword. So now that we have the silver sword, we build the deck around getting great trades leading up to silver sword. Obviously, Paladin is the strongest one in Arena still. We're going to look for those trump cards, those huge cards that give us huge leads. The Steed, Equality, the Bell, and the silver sword. Now we already got the silver sword, so we're looking for those class specific ones. After that, we really need a silence so that our Steed is better than their Steed, and some Stonehill Defenders because we're probably not going to get a Tareem, but the chances of getting a Tareem with Stonehill Defenders helps us a lot. And then probably like a Consecration or a Poison after the silence if we can. So that's what we're looking for here, guys. So keep your eyes peeled for me. So what's going to help us trade the most? So the Swift Messenger on turn 4 almost always helps you get a good trade or get rid of a 2/2 or even a bigger minion that's taking some damage from your silver hands. But the Paragon of Light, when you do get it buffed, has a higher ceiling, and the 3-drop price point is something that we need to start filling up. I would be sad if we didn't get another 3-drop later. So we're actually going to take the Paragon of Light, try to get it to work with our Silver Sword, or maybe a different buff to take advantage of it. Try to pull out a Silence or a Fireball early with this guy so that we have more tech later, assuming we get a Steed or something along those lines. And then the Divine Favor, even though it doesn't really fit in with the deck right now, it's the best card draw in the game, or can be at least. I mean, 9 cards for 3 mana is as great a value as you're possibly going to get. Looking at what we've got so far, it might not be that, but we can, now that we've got it, we can work around it a little bit, try to get a lot more 2 and 3 drops to get the favor favorable, as they say. Speaking of favorable, I think the easiest of these spells to make favorable is the Hand of Protection. I think the highest ceiling is Desperate Stand, especially if we get it on a Bone Drake or even something with Taunt, just to absorb another attack to the face or a more valuable minion. But we're going to take the Hand of Protection just because it has the, at least right now, has the easiest use. I actually really like Lost in the Jungle, especially with Divine Favor, but the Maul is hopefully going to turn into something we really want. Like, the Silver Sword is awesome. It wins you the game, especially if you fill up your board, get control of the board, turn 6 and 7. The Maul can be the swingiest, even swingier as far as gaining advantage of the board when you're behind, more than Silver Sword, because if this thing hits Divine Favor on even just 2 or 3 Silver Hand recruits, it's really insane what it can do for you. So we're going to take that and get some value out of it. So looking at our deck so far, we need a lot of 2 and 3 drops. 1 drops are definitely also in the category of cards we need, especially when they're as valuable as the Righteous Protector. There's only 2 1-drops with Divine Shield and Taunt. The other one is a 0/2 Elemental, the Wax Elemental. So as far as both of those keywords on one card, there's only 2 1-drops with it. But I think we want the Hydrologist. Now the Phoenix is really good too. This is actually a really good set here. But the Hydrologist is a 2-drop. It gives us a guaranteed card advantage here. So we're going to take that one. Wow, another really hard choice here. So the Fungalmancer is probably my favorite out of the 3 of these. We already have a card draw, which is pretty tough to come by in Paladin. You're looking for, like, even Loot Hoarders are always good, and so are the Acolyte of Pains. Those are neutral card draws. Bright-Eyed Scout, that kind of stuff goes a long way, especially in a class like Paladin. But we've already got the Divine Favor, so I don't think we need the Hammer of Wrath over a strong minion. I'm trying to think if we need, right now, looking at our deck, I think we need to have 1 steady late game. I'm just going to be bummed if we take the Volcanosaur and we end up seeing something that's more valuable. because then I would rather have the Fungal Mancer, right? And these are the tough choices that we make in Arena every time we draft. If you could just see all 90 cards and then, even if it was in groups of the 3, the clusters, right, and then pick them, that would be a really fun tavern brawl for them to do, actually, right? If they laid out all 90 of them and you were like, you got to pick, because I might regret taking the Volcanosaur if I see a Primordial Drake, if I see something along those lines that even if I see a worm, right? Even if I see a carrion worm, I probably would have rather had the Fungal Mancer. Okay, going through that list, I'm actually going to take the Fungal Mancer and really hope that we see something in that late game drop that helps me not regret it. The Doctor doesn't really count. He doesn't help with the board as much as you would think. His Death Rattle is great. I'm really hoping that we see him with the next set in a serious Hunter deck where we play dead with him all the time and gain the health. That would be amazing. But right now, we need a 3-drop. And I think I want the Dragon Slayer. Now the Pixie's good. It's a solid 3 for a 3/4. That's really hard to pass up, especially since Paladin is one of the classes without a 3 for a 3/4. But when the Dragon Slayer hits a dragon, the value is exponential. So we want all 3 of these cards. We don't have a Steed yet. Steed is the biggest impact on a game. I think I want a Steed and a Bone Mare more than I want 2 Steeds. So if I could go back, I would have the Bone Mare and this Steed, but I definitely want 2 Steeds more than I want a Dynasize or Call to Arms. So not going to complain too much. I mean, the Steed is well worth having in our deck. So let's do that. Now Light's Justice, we actually ended up with Light's Justice. It was in the 11-win Paladin deck, the one I'm still salty about, and we had 2 Thugs. This is the best weapon with the Thug to get it rolling. I don't think we take it here hoping for that combo again. I think we make a different pick, but it is nice to have. We already have 2 weapons. I normally don't like to have more than 3 and would really like to see either a Vine Cleaver or a Crusader. So let's not bog ourselves down with too many weapons. I think we want the heal. We don't have any 4-drops yet. So let's go with the heal. Yes, and there's the worm. Man, whew. Came back. We were greedy passing up the Volcanosaur. This Fungal Mancer and Violent Worm are going to look a lot better together than the Volcanosaur and the Violent Worm, except that Kodo can be really good. Last week we hit a Berserker with it. That was pretty much the best value you could get. Maybe a Doomsayer, right? Something that swings the board that much. But we got to take the Worm. We got to have something fat up here. Ooh, these are all really good. So the Militia is my new favorite taunt from the new expansion. The fact that you could get 9 value, so when it's 9, the value of it is more than other 9-drop taunts, right? It's more than Sleepy Dragon, and it's more than the Mastodon. Sure, it's spread out, so it could get flame struck, but it also avoids a polymorph, unlike the other ones do, or a single target sap, Vile Spine, so arguably it's better on 9 than the other ones. But the more rush and charge you have, the better your deck is, especially since our only 5-drop right now is the Fungal Mancer. And the Chain Gang is always solid. Okay, so we're looking for a Stonehill Defender. I'm not giving up on that yet, and because of that, we're going to have another 3-drop. So I think we need the 4 or 5-drop. The question is, what is our taunt right now? Just a bunch of Steeds? We gotta make them to the Steeds, though. So we're gonna take the Chain Gang. I'm gonna miss you, Charger. Ooh, wow. Is it possible that a deck can be good with 2 Divine Favors? I think that it can. Now, Rebuke is a great card. It's an awesome card. It's really along the line of cards that I want to be in Hearthstone. So I love this card. It's not good enough in Arena. It's too hard to hit. It can obviously make a big impact, especially if this was on like a 2/2 minion, then you would play it every time. And we have gotten pyroblasted out of the game plenty of times, but I think we're just going to take the solid 3-drop. I don't want to be sitting on 2 divine favors. So I said we need a poison. Gastropod is one of my least favorite poisons, though, guys. It's so hit or miss. I like the and so I had a sub. We were talking about this before. They said, yeah, it's better. So what's your point? My point is, when you're drafting, you have to make these decisions for your entire deck at that time, right? I want the keyword poison. And I don't want my deck to be filled with too many minions that are looking for one trade, right? So the poisons are all ideally getting extreme value out of a really strong trade, or at least a 1-for-1. That's why they all are so weak minions, right? And that's why my favorite one is the Basilisk. Sure, a couple classes can just ping it and get around it. That's why some people prefer the Bee. But my favorite is the Basilisk. And so my point is, yes, it's better, but I don't think you really want a deck that has a bunch of poison in it. You don't get enough board presence then. Yeah, you can trade. Most of the time, how the trade happens is in your opponent's hand, right? And ideally, you get a decent trade out of it and you move on, but it's not going to win you the game. It's not going to, very often the gastropod isn't going to kill the board, the one guy that's left. I mean, sometimes you draw the gastropod after they deathwing, or sometimes it makes that big impact, but most of the time what you want is just more consistent board presence and pressure. And I think I need another 5-drop, but I kind of hate this guy. I'd rather have, so let's look for a better 5-drop. Let's look for Scalebane. Let's look for another Charger. And let's take the Hammer for a direct damage and a card draw. Oh man. So I want the 5-drop. I just asked for it. But game, I'm sorry, you gotta take the silence when you get it, especially since Paladin does not have its own silence. Some classes have their own silence. Druid, Cleric, Priest have their own silence, and then if they don't have their own silence, Shaman has both. They have Urshock, and they have then a polymorph effect, Hex. The closest thing that we get is the Humility effects to make its health attack 1, the Secret to make its health 1, or the spell to make it a 3/3. There's nothing that actually removes the card text from the card itself. So when you get a silence with a Paladin, it's a huge impact on the class itself. A 3-drop that gets us another Death Rattle, we got to take it. So having 2 Silver Swords can be very nice because it pretty much guarantees you get one when you need it. It could sit in our hand for too long, especially with Divine Favor. And yes, Silver Sword is good and swings the game, but you can win without it, especially in Paladin. So I think we want the 5-drop. But man, so this is the 3rd Charger, and I keep saying I want a Charger. But a solid 3/2-drop, 3/2 2-drop, it's pretty tough to pass up. It's really tough to pass up. We got to take the 2-drop. Sorry, Charger, please come back. I promise. I promise I'll take you next time. Okay, so we just took another 2-drop. This guy is super good for making trades. The Death Speaker, which is 2/4 for 3, is a little better. It makes them immune. So you're using it for trades every time. Whereas the Protector gives Divine Shield, it's a little different because you could use it at the end of the turn on something like the Gastropod that we just passed up to make it closer to my favorite one, Basilisk. That's a pretty sick combo. The extra 2 health from the Death Speaker makes a big difference, though. Also, a solid 5/5 is really good. But I think we need the 3-drop, right? Another 3 weapon to push it? No, maybe not. Let's go for... We've got a lot of late game. Let's go for another 2-drop. I really like how that makes our curve look. Oh man! Guys, a legendary. That's how we start out the month, with a sweet legendary. So we have to pass up on Prince. Actually, do we? So I was looking at his battle cry. We don't care about his battle cry. We kind of do, because if we don't have the hand by then, it becomes a random legendary, which is nice. But a 5 for a 5/5 is perfect for our curve right now. Actually, perfect. Marin is a little too hit or miss. An 8 drop for a 6/6. I've tried to make Marin work before. Love this card. He's so cool. But we gotta pass it up for now. The Black Knight probably has the biggest swing of the three of them. Definitely has the biggest swing of them. When you hit something with it, especially the Drake or the Sunkeeper, is just so huge. I'm just thinking we're taking Liam just to have a solid 5 drop, which maybe is too. It's giving up on the advantage of being able to use the Black Knight for something huge. Oh man, I asked for another weapon. We were offered another Maul that I had to pass. But we got to take the Consecrate because we're still looking for an equality. A 12-win Paladin deck has an equality, so we're looking for that. 2 silences? That's so huge. Can we pass up the Beetle? What do I have for 2 drops? Yeah, we can. Oh man. The double silence. There's the card draw. Can't pass on that. There's a poison. Ooh, man, this deck's looking sick, guys. Please. Oh, a 1 drop. Man, a solid 1 drop? And that works with our lizard. Holy cow. So the Nightmare Amalgam, yes, it is also an elemental. Let me tell you real quickly why I dislike it. It's because it is huge crab food. There's the Dragon Slayer, which a lot of people take just because of what it can do to a dragon. It also hits the Nightmare. So Nightmare is great for a solid 3 drop, but it's way, way too susceptible to just being comboed with something like a Dragon Slayer, the crabs. The last time I had a Nightmare Amalgam, it was actually given to me by the Earthen Might, the buff from the Shaman, and then the priest that we were playing against used Thought Steal to get our crab and eat the elemental we were given, and it was so tilting. I avoid that card pretty much every time I can unless we really need it, but our 3 drops are solid. Our 3 drops are way solid. I would definitely take this blessing if I had ended up with a Liam over Black Knight. Oh, another thing that I like to do when I'm drafting, it's not tracked for you, even if you're using Deck Tracker. It's not something that it's something that I've learned to do over 25 years of drafting cards. First Magic, some other card games, now Hearthstone. I like to take a note sometimes of when I make a big decision with my cards and then remind myself throughout the games if I would have rather had the other one, right? So this happens a lot with the legendaries that I pick. I took Black Knight over Prince Liam. I only had 1 card at the time. Now I have 2. Could have had 3. I just like to take a note in game when I'm holding Black Knight. Would I have rather had Prince Liam or vice versa? So we're going to make a little note to ourselves for that. And then I think we actually do want the buff still, right? So we've got good 1 drops. This guy's really strong if we get it going, though. The lookout, so discovering a Murloc isn't what it used to be, but we do have the Hydrologist, and I thought we had another Murloc. What was I thinking of? Is that my only one? Was I just getting distracted by the Amalgam? Maybe. What are our 3 drops? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7. One thing that's tricky just looking at your curve is trying to decide, looking at the numbers, which ones you actually are going to want to play on that curve, right? So Divine Favor, sure, it's a 3 drop. We're very unlikely going to play it on turn 3. Everything else we'd like to play on turn 3, but we'd also like to have some competition on turn 3, right? Like, I would rather hold on to the Dragon Slayer and Giant Wasp and get board presence with a Gravedigger or an adapted Elemental or even a Primal Fin Lookout. So let's take one more 3 drop. Oh man, Now, this is a tough choice. Ravencaller is one of my favorite cards in the arena. I made a whole YouTube video about him. But I gotta take the Death Speaker with this deck that we got going. Should I have a second Divine Favor? I don't think so. I got a lot of stuff going on here. Let's try to make... Can we make the Mossbender worth it? We still don't have a solid 5-drop. Let's take this just so that we have another 5-drop. Good 3-drop. Okay, so which taunt do we want? We want the Grizzly over our second Chain Gang, right? Alright, here we go, guys. So, to recap, before I put on the music for you guys just on YouTube, 2 silences is off the chains good. This is like a standard deck when you get to have 2 silences. We only have 1 Silver Sword. I did pass up 2 other Silver Swords. Having too many Silver Swords can get you in trouble, especially since we have an unidentified Maul. We also have a Poison, my second favorite poison, so I'm not going to complain too much. We have 2 Steeds. The only thing we didn't see that I'm really upset about is an Equality. But with the right plays, we can get to 12 wins here. Equality is the only thing we're missing. We got Consecration. We got the Hydrologist. Yeah, we got a good deck here going here, guys. I think we might get to 12 wins with this guy. Let's do it. Let's queue up. Let me make sure the deck tracker's on so you guys can see it. Boom shaka. Boom shaka laka. All right, here we go.